give that to everybody in the universe?
No.
We're all going to be stealing her pad.
Just let me know when to fade out.
So good, though.
Is he saying dude or Drew?
Dude. Yeah, he's saying dude.
That's what I thought. And then this time I heard Drew. I
No,
didn't
not
know.
Drew. Welcome back to Bras, Bitches, and Balls. We're back from our summer hiatus. Haha, what a summer it was. And that's kind of the stuff that we're going to talk about today. I have in the studio with me today Lisa, Doxy, myself, and Jess is running the board for us.
Hey, welcome back.
Thank you for having us again. So I have a quick question. Now that we're on new technology for our Facebook live feed, which camera is doing it? There's one there.
Oh, this one.
And
That one's a spy cam.
Oh my God. I looked up and I was like, wait, it's not that well hidden because there's a big white cable. That's
Not at all.
going on.
It is like the opposite
It's
of
the
a spy
worst
cam.
spy in the universe.
That's the worst spy camera I've ever seen.
It's so
I'm really
obvious.
bad at my
It's
job.
like, are you inviting me to do shit? Because I could do it.
They were watching you.
No,
That's
the problem
awesome.
was people kept behaving really, really badly. So Dave was like, fine, I'll put cameras in the studios then.
Hi, Dave.
Took him like 2 years. Thank you.
Then, yeah, okay.
Sorry,
I'd
guys.
love to see some of those videos.
Actually, I would too.
So would I.
So we're still sponsored by Busted Bra Shop, which I happen to own it. And we,
in case we have any new listeners on a day when
Right.
we didn't tell anybody we were starting back up.
hi. We weren't really planning on starting back up today. We were planning on starting back up next week, and we have a gentleman who works with some horses locally, and I'll tell you more about that in a minute. I'll have to actually look it up on my phone. And Jess said, "So we're starting tomorrow or 2 days from now, right?" And I just said, "Sure."
You totally could have been like,
Why not?
no, idiot, it's next week. But thanks.
Doxy needs a warm up.
Doxy's so cold.
So cool. I'm going to hug her coffee.
And all of a sudden I'm hot. Okay,
No,
so
I'm
horses
like
next
incredibly
week.
comfortable.
So here's the deal. Surprise, we're back on. But I think you mentioned that we're still hosted. We're hosted by Podcast Detroit, sponsored by Busted, because
Right.
it looks like you may have a bra of the week.
I do have
in
a
your
bra of the week.
hand.
So here's the other funny part. We were supposed to be at a different studio today.
Oh, so you don't have.
And Jess sent me, hey, we're going to move to Royal Oak. We were going to be in downtown, well, off the Cass corridor. What is that place called? The shipping company?
Company.
Yeah, that
Yeah, with
shipping
all the
container place.
food places downstairs, right by the Peterborough restaurant, and that was going to be like the bomb, right? That would have been very cool. And I was going to stop by the store because it's right by the store and get my mannequins, but no. So I actually had this one in my house.
That's not your
And-
size.
No, it's not. I had this
Just
for.
an FYI. I don't know if you know this because you own a bra shop and all, but I can look at that and go, "That's not your size."
It's not, and it's not the
I
style
don't wear
bra that I would
bras, and
wear,
I can tell you that's not your size.
and it's not the style. Stop it.
Okay. So this is what brand?
This is an Alila. Alila is a brand that I've had the entire time. We go all the way to a 56 band, and they take care of a lot of my 40 through 56 clients. This is, they have it in two different sizes. They say it's a 54F or a triple D, depending on which convention you like to look at. The most important thing is, I can tell you, when you go to a bra shop, just let somebody fit you. They will tell you what size you are in which company or which style bra even. Excuse you, Jess.
It's sort of like trying shoes on. Like just because you fit in a 34G in one doesn't
Right.
mean you don't fit in a 36F in another or
Right.
whatever,
Or
right?
women's
So
pant sizes.
exactly.
Like,
So
why
you
can't we
gotta
just
try
have a
it
conventional
on.
sizing system? Because like this is why I
Right,
wear
and
boys'
because-
clothes.
Exactly.
Because some
And we can
people's waists
actually-
are smaller and some people's hips are bigger, or some people's
Right.
thighs are different. So you have to go to the brand that makes it for your.
Right, but could we
Well,
just
when you
do
don't
a
know this,
right?
I know.
like, you
Or
spend
could
your
we
whole
just
life-
do a waist measurement, inseam measurement, like dudes' pants do, rather than just you might be a medium or a small or an extra large or a 15 or a 12?
Sure, but then so you do a waist measurement and an inseam. Then what
You got
about
thighs.
what about your thighs?
still
What about
need
your
a-
hips?
Right.
What about that rise between the crotch and the belly button? That whatever that's called, where it zips.
What is that called? I like mine
I think
low
it's
rise.
called the rise.
The rise,
The rise.
I think it's
the hip region,
the nethers.
your nethers, the place where your bits
So
are.
I didn't. So somebody who doesn't wear bras, myself, that what we're learning about. I know I'm so horrible.
Okay, let's talk about this bra.
But yeah, this is what you told me earlier about bras. Is really, I didn't know.
So
all
this
this
is called a cut
information.
and sew. Is that right?
This is a cut and sew soft cup. So why is it called a cut and sew? You've got lots of different panels that are sewn together, and the seams are on the inside so that it's not quite as obvious on the outside. And it's got this beautiful embroidery. I really wanted to bring it to show that you don't have to wear
It's gorgeous.
black, beige, or white. You can wear a
especially as a
beautiful
large,
blue.
a large busted person.
As someone that's a 54F, you don't have to go with just black or beige. Absolutely
or
not.
that hideous old lady white.
Yeah, you don't have to do the ivory. You don't have to do any of that stuff.
Sorry,
but you
Mom,
can
but I'm
do-
scarred from white bras because of that.
You could do a beautiful blue with embroidery and a sheer panel up in the top. And they have matching panties for these. But I have some wonderful clients who live by this bra and by this company. So I just wanted to bring some color in. And
I like
So-
that it doesn't have a hard underwire.
it doesn't have
That
a hard
is
under.
Oh, that is
the
surprising
flexibility
for-
of that is
yeah.
really nice.
It has a very supportive,
Yeah.
just
That's why I
sewn
see a lot of
in seam.
interfacing there.
Yeah.
yeah.
This company's been around for a very long
And this
time.
is Alila,
This is Alila. This is the original goddess.
the original goddess.
Yeah, there's a whole story there.
Okay,
Yep.
so the original goddess Alila,
Mm-hmm.
and how small cup do those go from A to the largest, or are they only a larger? Because I know you have some stuff that's
Mm-hmm. No,
only smaller, only
They
larger.
do different frames for smaller cupped bras, but they don't do small bands. They do bands. I carry their bands, is how I should say it, but starting at about 38,
Okay.
and then they go up to 56. But they have several different styles. They do have wired bras.
But
They have
38 is
long
still
lines.
pretty small because I think I'm a 36 because I have a pretty wide rib
Mm-hmm.
cage. So it's not a.
I'm like
It's not a
34.
small.
Yeah.
Right. It's not like you can't get anything if you're a.
Yeah, I'm
Unless you're super tiny.
Yeah, it's not a 28.
I'm like
they're not
this.
they're not a company that is a 28. So every company specializes. They have this like
This is our area that we do
Area
the
of
majority of
expertise,
our stuff,
yeah.
right? So this is a cut and sew, you mentioned, because there are multiple panels that are sewn together.
Mm-hmm.
The other kind of bra is a molded cup.
molded or contour. Yeah.
So that's the one that looks like just each cup is like one big piece,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if you have breasts that are of a different sizeage,
Mm-hmm.
is one of those better than the other?
Well, you could no.
Okay.
Is the short answer.
Short, easy answer.
2 letters.
The short easy answer
No,
is
but.
no. But depending on how firm your breasts are or how tight the collagen is in your skin, at any point that you're coming in, we can look at a cut and sew that has a stretch lace upper cup, and that stretch lace works with
Attaches to whatever size you are, right?
Right. It really works with 2 different size breasts. And some people are radically different size and some people are just mildly different size. Yeah.
Just like our shoes, right? Like I have one foot
Right,
that's
one foot that's-
slightly narrower in the back, and so my shoe always slides off. Like you got the one
boop.
you have space in your cup, and
Yeah.
the other one you don't.
Yep.
Well, and then we have another type of contour called a spacer fabric, and that spacer fabric actually does stretch and come back. It's pretty phenomenal. And that way, if you do have one breast that's even a cup or a cup and a half size larger, it's going to adjust. So you have to ask for a spacer fabric.
Doxy has questions. That's my area, Doxy.
No, wait, but I'm curious, right? So, may I ask you a question about your breasts?
Sure.
Are you right-handed?
What does that mean?
Just follow
Are
the
you
question.
right-handed?
Oh,
Are
yeah,
you-
yeah. Am I
may
right?
I ask you another question before I
Okay,
ask
I'm
you a
like,
question
that's
about
not
your
about my
breasts?
breasts.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Are you,
okay,
are you
yes, I'm
right-handed? And is your right breast is larger than your left? Is that a dominant thing?
No,
with-
I think they're actually pretty much the same. But Lee
Hers
would know
are-
better than me.
Hers are fairly similar in
From where I'm
size.
sitting, it looks like
Do they look
The
different?
right one looks a tad bit bigger. I mean, it could just be
I
the
mean,
way that we're
maybe.
sitting in the lighting
Hello,
in here.
internet.
Hi. Well, no, I'm curious about this because I wondered, like, your strength arm.
Yeah,
Is that
is it
would that be that would be
reason
that
why
that
you
breast
might
would
get
be
bigger?
larger is because you're using it all the time. And I'm
I
not saying it's
actually wondered,
muscular.
is it some women have the issue after having a baby and
Yeah.
breastfeeding, like favoring one side over another, or is it like just you're born with
All
two
those
different
things. All those
So-
things.
So it's a variety of things. There's
Yeah.
no one answer, right? But
all
yeah,
those
okay,
things.
I see. That's an interesting.
Yeah, okay, I
we
mean,
might
just-
have to do a research study,
Hey.
like down at Wayne State with Babs. and
Oh my God, I'll go with you. This will be so much fun.
Are
So,
you-
ladies, can
so-
we talk?
I don't want to touch anything. I just have a few questions. What is your dominant hand?
And which
Which
boob's
boob's
bigger?
bigger?
That's gonna be fun. Sponsored by.
Sponsored by Busted.
All right, can I ask a question about other underwear garments? I have now that we're talking, because you're the one's going to
I
know
was
the
going to
answer.
say ask her.
She's the lady. So the internet showed me this video.
Yes.
Of these right? Yeah, no, not that, not like that. It was a commercial that came onto my feed, and it was a really interesting elastic fabric that came right up to under the breasts, and it just pulled
Like
in.
shaper fabric?
Yeah, shaper,
a-
molder, puller
yeah.
in, and it just made it all seamless. So there's no muffin top.
I think
and no,
she's got that, and it attaches to
and
the bra,
was
doesn't it?
like just watching the videos of women just owning their bodies and just putting this on, and you're like, and then putting clothes on, you're like, whoa, that's how women do it. It's just like it was a magic trick to me, and it was beautiful and seamless. So of course, you know all about this, which is why she's giving me that look.
I
She's
don't.
like,
I don't know all about it. No, all about it is not what I know. But I know that we have solutions for different foundation garments that people might need. Yeah, so that if they
Foundation,
want to wear something that they need to feel more confident in underneath, you know, if you're wearing a mermaid dress and you're like, you know what, I had a kid 10 years ago, and maybe I might want to smooth that piece out. You know, we have things that can help. Now, we can't change your size.
of course. But it's.
But you have a shaper
Yeah,
undergarment that it attaches to the bra,
it attaches
right?
to the bra.
Because one of my problems is I've bought some of those and they just roll up or roll down
Yep.
over my extra
And
flesh.
that's uncomfortable
And-
too, right?
Well, and it's kind of like, what's the point? Like, I'm still popping out, and now I just have this.
I wear a sports bra and I'm constantly unrolling it.
Yeah.
Like, how annoying is that? So yeah.
So,
I get
she's
it.
like,
So
have you not seen her? She's looking like you haven't
I
seen her.
totally.
She can fix that.
I
She
can.
totally
She's giving
fix
me
that.
that look.
So anyway, but you have a something that connects to the bra, so then it doesn't slide down.
Like a little eye
It'll-
hooks?
Yeah.
That's genius.
Yeah, it just hooks right into the bra strap. It's called hooked up.
Hooked up.
'Cause we'll hook you up.
Exactly. This is all working.
I get it from Canada, from the
The
Canadians.
Canadians, they're smart people.
They are. They like cheese, beer, and they make good bras. Just saying.
3 things
So
up her
there's
alley.
that. Anyway, anywho, segue.
Yeah. How do we segue into that?
All right, now that we've
Okay,
done
wait.
the bra
I can.
part of the podcast.
I can totally segue. I got a segue.
Doxy's got a segue.
So
Oh, shit.
yesterday when we were at the event, I get a Facebook message that says, "Hey, call me immediately," from somebody who I don't really talk to, and I was like, "Okay, something's going wrong." So I get home and I call her. I'm like, "Hey, Tina, what's up?" And she's like, "Boom! I got so many bras, and you work with the homeless. You want them?" And I was like, "Of course I do." And
Perfect
she's like,
segue,
"She's like,
Doxy.
yeah, totally right." And she's like, she admitted, she's like, I have. God, I hope I'm not giving away. I'm not going to give her last name away. So, hey,
gonna say-
Tina, what up?
Thank you.
So, Tina has a 12 by 12 closet.
Dang.
She's a shopaholic. And she's like, I'm just trying to, not do that. She's like, I have so many clothes and so many bras, most of them with the tag still on them. She just likes to shop. And she's like, I'm not going to give them. I want to give them to somebody who I know is going to get them right to the people.
Yeah,
and I was
right.
like,
Support the
boom.
girls.
Well, support the girls, or we're also having a free store happening on the 21st. So, yes, right? So, I was so stoked. I was
The
like,
21st, like 2 days from now?
no, I lied. That's going to be October.
I'm like,
You didn't
holy
lie. You just
crap.
omitted
Yeah,
information.
wrong month. Yeah. No, we do our free stores on Sundays, so we're doing it October 21st. It'll be the last one of the
Okay.
season. So I was like, hey, and she's like, got bags and bags and bags and bags of clothes. So I was just like, I'm winning.
That is awesome.
That's fantastic.
So
So
that
how do
is
we
a
get those
perfect
to you?
Segue.
Oh, she's bringing them to me. I
But
was like,
how do these people
Oh,
get
hi.
clothes to you
Thanks. I wasn't even feeding fishing for that one. Yeah.
I mean,
So
our tens of
our
followers are.
Our tons of listeners may
So-
have a lot of clothing that they may want to get rid of. I have
So
a
you might
small
have just
box.
bought a new, fall coat or winter coat, which means there's another one sitting in your closet that you may never wear again. So 'tis the season. Instead of doing spring cleaning, let's do fall cleaning. Go through your clothes, see the things that you're not going to wear this season because they're not in fashion, or they can go on to somebody else. Burners Without Borders is
She
doing
says to me who's wearing a 10-year-old Target
I was
t-shirt.
about to say,
I do. I'm the same way. Clothes from the
fashions
90s,
ever
like
really
totally,
go
like
away.
still,
Right.
like yeah,
I'm
the,
like,
the
hey,
thread
got
doesn't
the-
expire.
Got the armpit stains out with Forever
you're-
New, so I'm good.
when you're 15, 16 years old, you follow the fashion trends. When you're 50, we're
Right,
we're
yeah.
just like, wait,
fits?
does that still fit on my ass?
Hey, 20-year-old pants.
Yeah, those
I
are
got
cool.
these shoes in the 90s when I was in Europe.
See?
So, oh my gosh, yeah. Clothes back then didn't have threads that expired.
Right, they lasted longer.
Yeah, the designed obsolescence wasn't into fashion yet, the fast fashion.
Yeah.
So,
And I just heard
There's
somewhere
designed
about how
obsolescence?
much.
What?
Yeah, well, and it
designed
just-
obsolescence is a
were we
horrible
talk-
thing about our society.
It was somebody we were talking to at the Goldman Sachs thing last week that was saying that they had heard that the majority of the clothing that is for sale in the U.S. isn't even sold. It's just never worn because it doesn't get sold. So they manufacture huge amounts of it, and then it's
disgusting.
Just what? What does it do? What does
Yeah,
it
where
go
does it
to?
go?
goes to a landfill.
Well, yeah, a
goes
lot of
to
times
you can't do that.
Africa.
Well,
Yeah,
the
a
horrible
lot
thing
of
about it, well, a lot of
a
it doesn't
lot of
even
it
end up
goes-
in third world countries. A lot of it will just be destroyed.
Yeah.
They won't even just take the tags off and then give it to the homeless. They will destroy it.
There was
Like
a particular
bleaching, cutting.
yeah.
Like,
there was a
like,
particular
all these
brand a
things.
few years ago that people were really pissed off about. So then people kind of made an effort.
Two
to go
letters in the
give-
alphabet that has an ampersand in the middle. Yeah, just saying.
Yeah, and they so people started going and giving away their clothes to the homeless and taking pictures. No, that was not the one.
Another one.
Beginning of the alphabet.
All right. Anyways, oh yeah, them
yeah.
too. Yeah.
So,
yeah, this is definitely
Yeah,
a
because
thing.
they don't want poor people in their clothing.
Assholes.
So
That's a nice way to
Is
put
that
it.
a good A word? So listen, we're at. Let me tell you what
They
life
were
is
in a
like with
song
Lisa.
once.
Tell me what life's like with Lisa.
When
Own it,
Lisa
sister.
and I-
Own it.
When Lisa and I go to a public event, I'll be walking around. I meet people. Will talk. Yeah. Hi. Yeah. That's what I do. Yeah. Sure. What do you do? Oh, awesome. Great. I'll take your card. See you later. I'm on to the next human. I turn around and Lisa's nowhere to be found. She'll dive into a rabbit hole, and these people are just like, "I love you. I could talk to you forever."
Yeah, so I meet like 3 people.
And then
she's
I-
not like 50.
Yeah. I come back. I come back around. And I'm like, "What the fuck are
I'm
you
like,
doing?"
I'm still having this fascinating
She's dealing cards out,
conversation.
like, she's got
I met
52
a
decks.
woman who does product design at Wayne
Right,
State,
she
and she
did.
was fascinating.
Where I'd
So-
been like, "Peace. I'm
Yeah,
out."
she's like-
she gets the meat of it.
I'm like, we need to talk, and we should probably have the other woman on the podcast
She
at some point.
sent me an email.
Yeah,
own that
but I'm
about
like The other
yourself.
one, the
Oh, it's great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
No, I'm
Both have their
I'm
powers.
She dives in, and I'm more like squirrel.
yeah.
And both are good, especially if you work in a room together,
Yeah.
right?
My assistant. Shout out to Lisa. Hi, Lisa.
Hey,
She's probably
Lisa.
not watching because she doesn't. Well, maybe she is. I did tell her I was going to be here today. She's the squirrel type. I'm like, okay, focus.
So this is our second time in front of microphones this week.
Because on Monday you were you both on the Craig Folly show?
I got to go too. It was fun. Yes. It was a lot
Awesome.
of fun.
So we kind of burned Doxy's segue, but the segue was what we're going to talk about today is
well,
the thing
that's why we were at this
you
Trey Folly
guys
show.
did yesterday, and on Monday you were at Craig Folly talking about it, and
Yeah.
it ties into the store that you're going to be doing on October 21st.
Kind of. I mean, that's kind of a tangent, but I mean,
Tangent,
I was,
but
I was
related.
trying to do a segue, and then I
Right.
had it.
So you had it, and then yeah. So you guys did an event where I'm going to describe this the wrong way, so you're going
Okay,
to correct me.
awesome.
But you had an event where a while back we had talked about the fact that there are multiple organizations that serve the homeless.
Yes.
Doxy is very involved in backpacks and things like that.
And microphones. Like,
She's having some technical difficulties.
Okay, back.
But so one of the issues was that a lot of these organizations are not interfacing with each other, so don't provide the right, like there's not a mechanism for them to say, oh, we're at this place on Thursdays, so maybe it makes sense for us to coordinate healthcare services or something for that day.
how
and
can
this
they
place as
utilize
well.
their resources?
So you
Yeah.
guys organized a symposium
our Rotary group, which is small but mighty. We decided to put together a symposium for homeless organizations to be able to get together, network, and start a conversation about what works for them, what they're doing that overlaps, why we have to have so many organizations that do the same thing, because our homeless population is numerous, and it's not getting smaller by the day.
And the size of the city is so expansive that there have to be, organizations doing it all different parts of the city. So go.
So we call it Extending Our Reach. The Detroit AM Rotary put it on at the Cathedral Church of St. Paul at Woodward and Warren in Midtown Detroit. And
That's where the small child sings as well, right?
That's where my kid sings, yeah.
The not so small child.
That cathedral
Is beautiful, isn't it?
jaw-droppingly stunning. And there is no steel in there. It is all cement. It is all flying buttresses. It is an architectural amazing.
It is a true Gothic cathedral.
Wow.
Yeah,
And
it is just
the
a pile
stained
of
glass.
rocks in a pretty shape.
Some of the stained glass dates back to the 1400s.
Holy
Even though it
crap.
only started in 1911, so it was finished. But it's unbelievably just gorgeous.
And
I
it's
was
like
in awe.
the stained glass in the middle is all like being under the ocean, and I've always been like, oh,
I'm
look,
drowning?
it's sort of
Under
like,
the
look, there's
sea.
octopuses, and it's all pretty, and all the pretty colors, purples and pinks, and
It's
and
the
then I
sign of
was
the
like,
Stations of the Cross.
Just then
Because that's usually what it is.
fantastic. I don't know, but then I saw a little diver, and somebody went, "That's a whale behind him," and I was like, "Oh, Jonah,
Jonah. That's Jonah being eaten.
that's only been
Mind
a
you,
15 year
that
freaking
stained glass
journey."
is from the 70s.
Speaking of which, I have two tangents.
Okay,
One,
go.
I don't want to say happy because it's a day of atonement, but today is Yom Kippur. So, to any one of our tons of listeners who is Jewish, they will not be watching it today. But hi, maybe we'll see you tomorrow. Also, just as as we were talking architecture, so apparently yesterday was the anniversary of the beginning of the building of the Masonic Temple.
In Detroit?
And, yes.
Best
and
building ever?
Biggest
And-
Masonic temple in the world.
This is
Yes.
the most fascinating thing about it. Apparently, they brought in George Washington's, the trowel and everything that George Washington used to start the building of the White House. And that's what was used to set the first
Shut up. That's pretty cool.
stones. Things you learn on Twitter.
Did they bury the trowel in the Masonic temple?
I don't know, but Nicolas Cage
Is it
might
a
be able to find
mystery?
it
I
for
know,
us.
Can we invite Nicolas Cage onto the
We
podcast?
can certainly
'Cause
invite him.
that
I
would
don't know
make
that
me
he'll ever
happy.
find out.
Okay, ladies.
Back to the home.
What just happened? Like, that went so far over my head.
Really? There's a movie.
There's
National Treasure.
National Treasure. He goes
Oh,
out.
Jesus. Oh, my God. Okay. All right.
You see your
Thank
problem
you.
with the mic.
Well, no. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
Now I get the Nick Cage comment.
Okay, so anyway, back to the homeless. So you had the symposium in this gorgeous Catholic church. What happened in there?
We had 14 organizations.
Technically, we had 15. 14 gave presentations. Oh. Yeah.
Oh, that's right, because yours didn't. Oops. She just tapped me on the shoulder and said,
I
"Here,
should have
you
done
introduced
this."
the last one. It's Chris Castile." Okay.
We gotta
Okay.
go do a thing.
Just doing
So
it.
what were the organizations that were involved and what happened and what's the outcome kind of?
Well, they were all self-elected. What we did is we created a form, a spreadsheet asking a bunch of questions, and we had everybody on the team send it out to people that we all know, and so asking them to be engaged. So about 20 were actually, it was a small invite only first.
Yeah.
So 20 organizations sent us information back, and of the 20, 15 were able to make it. And actually 14 were able to make it, and one just showed up because she'd heard, and I was like, "You're a rock star! Way to just handle that."
Woohoo!
And then
So-
she got up on the microphone and said, "Hey, this is what I do."
Totally, and she was networking the room, and so it was great. And there are organizations from as big as like Salvation Army and like Cath Clinic
And the VA.
The VA,
Oh,
yeah, the VA was there.
awesome.
She gave an amazing speech, down to like street medicine. So there,
Yeah.
the whole gamut of. And mind you, it was just a small portion of what the city offers.
Right.
So as an inaugural event, I think it was a really
That's
great way to
fantastic.
get faces at the table. And when we grow this, we the word's going to get out, and create a consortium so everybody can communicate better. So
So it's sort of like with housing, it's a continuum of care for the homeless, right? It's getting them off the street and into temporary housing, and
that's
then
the largest thing
beyond.
that the biggest problem that needs to be solved is housing. And not all of the organizations that showed up can do that.
Right.
Like, the one that I do is like, we don't have the skills to get you off the streets, but we're there to help
But
you
we're
for a
helping,
moment,
right.
But you look at the VA and the services that they offer, and they understand, like, I can't help you with any of the other issues that are causing you problems right now until I get you housed. Until that burden is
Exactly.
off your shoulders, we can't tend to everything
Right,
else.
because how do you get a job when you don't have an address?
How do you stay
How
on
do you
your
go
meds?
anywhere?
How
if
do you
right.
how do you do any of this?
And I know that
And if you
the
have
Michigan
trust
Veterans
issues,
Foundation
Yep.
had, who obviously works probably with the VA, but the Michigan Veterans Foundation, one of the things that they had going on in their space that they had on CAS was temporary kind of supportive housing where you went into like transitional housing where you went into like a 15-week program or whatever, and they helped with things like, let's get you Social Security, let's get you
identification.
right, let's identification, like you haven't seen your kids, let's figure that out. So it was an intensive program, but they had to be there too, so they provided sort of bunk style housing, and then hopefully we're able to then get them into longer term
And that way you're getting a
leasing
caseworker in that situation too,
Right.
to help liaison you through the program
Right.
and liaison you through the complicated systems of getting all the things you need, because there's the overwhelming part.
yeah.
Right.
Like being impoverished is a lot of work.
Yes,
Holy
it is.
Moses, right? Yeah,
Grew
hey,
up in
hi,
it.
I get that one, So
Right.
so if you have someone to advocate for you and to help you through and to keep you on track and on schedule and be like, hey, here's a reminder, we need to make this phone call and let's do that.
Right.
Like,
And what do I
that's-
deal with
that's-
first? Because there are
Yeah,
so many
there's-
things to deal with at once.
because you
It's
can't
like
do this until you
triage.
have that.
Can't,
Right.
It's not sticking a finger in a dam. It's like trying to cover the whole crumbling thing.
Yeah, so the
coming at
liaison
you.
can telescope out and like understands where the web is, and like, all right, let's do this, and then we can do that. And so that's what's going to help these people succeed.
Yeah.
And we need more people doing that.
So we had people as small as soup kitchens
Fantastic.
talking to people at the VA. And then when Father Scott came and talked to us, the dean of the cathedral,
He was amazing.
Dean Hunter, when he came and spoke, and he mentioned to everyone, we do breakfast here every Sunday. Every Sunday between the 8:15 service and the 11 o'clock service, there is breakfast available to whoever wants to have breakfast. So we had some conversations about that I said, somebody asked me, do they have to be homeless? And I was like, no, they just need to be hungry.
Right.
Because, and I was
There
talking
isn't a
to
check at the door like what's
No.
your income?
Right, what's your address? Where's your thing? Yeah.
What corner are you sleeping on this
Right.
week? Like
Can I
that-
tangent on what you just said? So Father Scott tells about Sunday, and then Anita from St. Leo's, she doesn't do a Sunday weekend meal or a weekend meal. She does packages. So now she's like, bam, I know,
can
like I
send
can tell
people
people to
here.
come here on a Sunday for a meal.
Exactly.
So that was just one of the tiny little pieces of magic that happened yesterday.
Yeah.
And it was lovely to watch it and introduce people to do the things, and you're just like, this is happening. And so, yeah.
And if you think about the veterans, I was part of the Disabled American Veterans group in Wilmington, North Carolina. Yep, Wilmington, North Carolina, where all the flooding is happening.
Sending love
for
their
3
way.
years. Thank you. And we would feed our members, or just veterans who wanted to come to find out about the DAV, on our meeting nights. And you knew the people that were just there trying to be social, trying to get out into the world, but they didn't trust anyone. They didn't really want you to talk to them yet. Their backs were to the wall. You would figure out where you could speak to someone. It's just like when the lady veterans would come in, most of the guys would be like, Lee, can you go say hello? Because she's obviously not going to speak to me right now.
Right.
I'm like, okay, she may have some issues, so cool. But sometimes people just need a social place to go to have
To know
breakfast.
and to know that they can be there even if they don't want to talk to anybody.
Right.
Like there are times when after September 11th, I remember going places just to be around people, and I didn't want to talk to people, but I wanted to not be.
You wanted to feel
alone.
the the humanity, and sometimes people want to talk to you
Right.
because if you're at home all by yourself for a
Right.
week, and then you go, you know what, on Sundays I can go
I
talk
just
to
wanna
Doxy. She's going to
socialize.
be there,
Yeah.
and we'll have a little conversation.
And that may be
But
all
it's
that they
open to
need. They
anyone.
don't need. They don't need the other supportive care. They just want a face that they recognize.
Yeah, and she's right. She's talking about trust, gaining trust, or at least being that friendly face in something that's consistent. Especially in a lot of these locations, like they know that they're going to come in and they're going to see you on a Sunday, and they're going to be
Right.
like, oh, I know that face,
Right.
and
And they know exactly where to go every Sunday.
Yeah,
So
And there are lots of services that are concrete like that, and then there's lots of services that are mobile. And we had both of them in the room.
like the
last
street
night.
medicine.
Yep, street medicine, and there were quite a few of them that were out on the streets, which was great. NSO does a street work. I do street work. Mariners doesn't. A New Life does a little bit. So it's a lot of them were fluid, and so which is nice.
I have a question, and this because I saw something on Twitter again. I'm like on Twitter way too much, but
She has to remind me that you need to get on Twitter and do something. Okay.
But so I saw something a while back before the symposium was held that in some area of New York City, they had, I don't think they'd had a symposium, but they produced like a pamphlet. And you had talked about doing this where it said on Tuesdays, this location offers free haircuts, or on this, on Thursday mornings, these are the 3 places you can go for food, that kind of thing. But it raised my question with, okay, I know that there are soup kitchens. I know that through you guys that there's a street medicine. Is there like somewhere that offers showers and shaves?
Ding, 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 ding. That's why we're doing this. It's part of like the end goal.
Because it's like, okay,
Yes.
when I'm dirty, I feel gross. Like I can't imagine if like that just like decreases the humanity of someone to not have somewhere where they can go get a shower and clean up.
So when the form that we sent out, the survey, was asking people the services that they offer. When do they offer them? What do they offer? And so it was great because we did find out who has laundry, who has showers, who has all of these. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a one sheet. Hopefully it'll be a one sheet, folded down in various ways.
You can
so
put
it
it
has
in a
16
pocket.
panels. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it have like the way it's folded, it'll have 16 panels that can talk about what services are where and then days of the week. Because like if you talk to homeless who've been on the streets for a long time, they know where all the services are. They know
Right.
which churches offer bus
But
passes
the new
and who
guy
has this.
doesn't.
Exactly. So and sometimes you'll just forget too, right? I mean, like being out on the streets, like there's so much to think about, or you're only thinking about the moment in front of you.
Right.
Right. So if you have this little reference guide, so that is the goal of what we're doing. And we want the spreadsheet will be accessible so people can edit it, and also and to all the organizations who have contributed to it. And then we'll make the documents that can go to all of those services where they can hand them out.
Right.
Because we're all in this together.
I love that.
Yeah, that's the great goal. So I'm stoked about that.
So we also were able to connect with a couple people who are service-minded and might want to join in on our Rotary group so that we can become a
Fantastic.
little bit mightier.
Yay!
Yeah. So.
And I don't know if you guys sent out to them, but one of the organizations that might be very interested, I think I mentioned it to you, is the Ruth Ellis Center. Because Ruth Ellis is an LGBT organization.
Oh, nice.
And many of the kids, I know, having an ex who worked in foster care, many of the kids were kids who were out on the street, were kids who had been kicked out because their families or their very religious, not so religious foster families did not approve of their orientation. And so they were out on the street. So Ruth Ellis provides, I think, some services for them and might be very interested in.
So just youth
Absolutely.
services or young adults?
I believe it's youth related, but I don't know that it's entirely youth related.
And
And I have a friend who used to sit on the board, so I can certainly get you connected
Yay!
with them.
Love that.
Thank you.
And where are they
Lisa.
located? What
I
city?
believe they're in Ferndale.
Cool.
I may be making that up.
And that would make you can totally.
I know
make
they
that
have
up.
a house, but I'm not sure if it's in Detroit or Ferndale. But
Okay.
it's very Detroit adjacent if it's not in the city.
And it's really good that they have, if they do, that they offer youth services and LGBTQ, because that's a demographic that can hide in society a lot easier. You put a backpack on a kid and you don't know if they're homeless or not, if they're a student. So the possibility for them to not get the services they need are easy. And then that way, when that happens, they can get
Safety.
Yeah, but
Well,
they
and
can
that's the
also
first-
get into situations that are more unsafe because
Yeah, well, and that's my concern. Like we were talking about this, and I was thinking about the whole, stay sexy, don't get murdered, stay out of the forest. Well, one of the big issues is for runaway teens, and not just girls, but anyone who's kind of a population that is subject to
trafficking.
to influence.
Yep.
I just worry about their safety in terms of being picked up for human trafficking, being
Absolutely.
raped on the street,
Yeah.
anything like
or
that.
going into
So-
being sex workers and all of that.
Exactly.
The risks are higher.
Yeah.
Because we don't pay as much attention to them.
Right.
So and a lot of teens or youth can not only blend into society easier, they can also just couch surf. They're not
Right.
looking for the services at a shelter. They're not looking for the things because they're just gonna.
Well, and the person I spoke of earlier, I was like, wow, you were homeless as a high school student. And he's like, no, I wasn't. I stayed on people's couches. I'm like, that does not mean you were not homeless.
Right.
So they don't even
perception.
necessarily perceive themselves
Yep.
as a homeless person because their friends letting them stay on the
Yeah,
couch
I
for
got a
3
place
weeks
to-
until their parents get tired of it, and then they move to the next friend's
Right.
house. Right.
When I left my first husband, I was couch and floor surfing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it happens. It happens to lots and lots and lots of people. I had a car, so I didn't really think anything of it. Okay, now we're going to segue into other things.
Okay. Can we talk about happy stuff? Can we go to like Cuddle Corner?
Cuddle Corner.
I need your code though before you got something else to say first.
Okay, so things that are happening in and around the city that I think
I had all
are
that right, but the last number I was too off. Okay. Anyway,
things that I find interesting that are happening in the city of Detroit. I really don't give a shit if y'all find this interesting or not. Yep, Star Wars is
that's gonna end.
still going
gotta
on,
go.
but it is going to end very, very
And the tickets are
soon.
selling
Gig
out.
alert! Gig alert! Gig alert! Gig
Oh my God, it's costumes.
I have
and
friends
Star
tickets.
Wars.
I do hear that
I
they're
have
amazing.
tickets. I
You
have
have
two. I have
tickets?
two
It's a
tickets.
ticketed event.
But I also have an 11-year-old boy.
Well,
you're
no,
not
I'm
going.
supposed to bring one of my besties for her birthday that happened back in April, and we keep not scheduling something, so it needs to happen soon because we have until September 30th.
That's it. But
September 30th.
it-
If you want
which happens even faster is coming up on the 22nd. But yes, September
September 30th is the end.
at the
So if you
DIA.
like costumes, if you like Star Wars, if you like both of them,
Oh,
then you want to get tickets to this.
it would be cool to see the costuming.
It would be.
Yeah, I
Costumes
mean, I don't
are
care about
amazing.
Star whatever, but I definitely love
is
the
that what she just
I almost said Starbucks, and I was like the Star things, but I love costuming and I love looking at lines and the design of
Yeah,
things.
and like how
So-
things are put together and all
Yeah,
that.
So, truth be told, the first time I heard the title Starbucks for a coffee shop, I was like, are they naming it after the character from Battlestar Galactica? Because that's awesome.
Isn't that named after Call Me Ishmael? Starbuck was involved in that boring Moby Dick. It's named after Moby Dick.
It's after Moby Dick.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, so the other thing that's happening around punk rock. You don't know Battlestar Galactica?
I don't. I mean,
Nope.
I remember my brother was afraid of the little the
There's two.
the
actually.
robots.
I
There's
kind of watched a
one that
little bit of
happened
the
in the
recent
70s,
one. Yeah,
and I have that whole season. It's awesome, and my son has watched it. And then
The old
and
one
then we
from
have
the
the we have the
70s.
new one also.
I've watched a
that
few of the
we
new ones. I'm like,
watched.
All I know is my
Oh,
brother was afraid of the Cylons.
sounds terrifying.
Well, we used to go visit my grandfather. I don't remember this because we were super young, but we used to go visit my grandfather in the hospital, and there were people who had trach tubes and stuff, and they would speak with the and apparently that sounded a lot like Cylons and the way they.
oh, scared him.
Kind of did. Okay, so
the
what's
cool thing?
happening? Punk rock. Punk
Oh,
rock
the
at
Shepherd
Cranbrook.
Ferry.
Yes, but on the 22nd, there's actually going to be a panel of people, and it's a free
Oh.
event talking there.
All right, hold on. Before you do this, so Shepherd Ferry can come to Detroit, get some of the biggest murals here, and then also tag the whole city, not get ticketed for it, and then get a ginormous show in Cranbrook. Only Shepherd Ferry.
Except
Only
that
in
it's,
Detroit.
he didn't make the art. He is the curator of the art.
Oh, okay,
It's
so-
At the
old-
show? Okay, cool.
It's old,
All right.
It's punk rock
Posters
like,
and stuff, or what?
Posters and albums and yeah, it's punk
Okay.
rock art, which is
While you're looking
Punk
for
rock
that,
girl.
speaking of punk rock,
Punk
did you
rock
listen to
girl.
that Disgraceland episode?
You and me, punk
no,
rock
but
girl.
I have time to do that today, which is really really fun. So I'm very excited about that. So it accompanies the exhibit Too Fast, Too Young. So Too Fast, can't even read well. Okay, Too Fast to Live, Too Young to Die. Punk graphics, right? And it's graphics from 76 to 86. That would be 19 for our young people. Okay, so we have a panelist of people that were in the scene that are going to be there.
Was
which
our
some
guitar,
names.
is our banjo guitar guy?
Paul Zimmerman is going to be there. He created the first punk rock scene magazine, White Noise, amongst some other fantastic things. Jerry Vile.
Jerry Vile. Love me some Jerry Vile.
So see, he does the Dirty Show.
He used to do Orbit magazine. He's done. He put the Crisco can in front of the fist downtown Detroit. He's funny. Anyways, controversial.
That is punk rock, right?
That is punk rock.
I mentioned her Disgraceland podcast. They did one on Gigi Allen and
Great face.
ew.
Gigi Allen. Mm-hmm. Who else?
We've got here. You read.
Glasses.
You
Okay.
read. You read
Maybe
a
you
couple
should go to the eye doctor.
things. Kiss my ass.
I don't know who Tesco V is, but they've been in the punk rock scene for
I've
40
seen
years.
their name around. I was hoping our gentleman who used to own the record store, who came in
And with the
did the guitars, would be one of them.
he made guitars out of cigar boxes.
Oh, that's super cool.
Super cool.
And are they
Yeah.
banjos out of cigar boxes or are they
Banjos?
guitars?
I think they're banjos.
They were fantastic.
Yeah,
He was
I don't know.
amazing.
What's
I
the
want to go back and
difference?
listen to that
Okay,
podcast
so
again.
this exhibition runs until October 7th, and this panel is
The 22nd of September.
22nd of September, 2 p.m.
Free event.
Saturday, 2
free?
p.m. Free event. Oh my God! Oh,
You just have to get your ass out to Cranbrook.
How many seats are they going to have? This better be a big auditorium.
They've got some big spaces there.
Okay, well, good.
Maybe it'll
All
be
right,
in the
so
church.
guess what we missed last Wednesday?
Guess what we missed? This is the Guess What We Missed corner.
Pussy Riot was in Detroit.
What?
Yep. No press about this. Yep.
Didn't one of the guys just end up in jail?
Well, he got poisoned.
Poisoned. That's
that's
what
a little
happened.
different than jail.
Yeah,
But
well,
they're constantly
kind of similar
dealing with
in
jail.
Russia.
Yeah. So yeah, they were actually at the L Club, and I'm kind of bummed out. I had something to do that night. Even if
Boo.
the tickets are probably totally sold out, but it's still just going and being. I'm
Like-
not even a fangirl, but it's Pussy
Right.
Riot. They're in
But-
Detroit.
right.
You know,
it's
and
just
I'm
like
just kind of bummed
it's a
out.
touchstone of history kind of thing, right?
Absolutely, right? Go and show
Like
them
I
some
went and saw
support.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
something we missed. So what else is coming up?
Those are some of the big things.
There
for me right
is
now.
another event, but I have not Googled it. Google the Belle Isle Aquarium.
What's going on at the aquarium?
They have
that's
another. It's not urgent for sturgeon because it's not sturgeon, but another event.
Is it a night at the
like
aquarium?
A night at the aquarium kind
It's
of
a lovely
event.
fundraiser. I've done it many years, and I've helped them. I volunteer for them, and because I love the Bella Aquarium, absolutely love it.
Beautiful old building. I
Oh
like
my God, all the Puabic tile, all
fishes.
the new fishies. Yep.
So, so Leah's googling that, but she
I
can't
am.
see, so it might take a while.
I can't spell.
So I
either.
just introduced someone to the term throwing shade. A segue while she's looking.
Okay.
just don't throw shades.
I was like, "Are you? Don't throw shades."
You would not like
Belle
that.
Isle
very much.
Aquarium. Haha, he did the urgent for sturgeon last year.
Sorry,
nice,
I can't
nice
find
tie-in. They yeah, I was like, "Are you throwing shade?" Text the person. They're like, "What does that mean?" I'm like, "Seriously, what?"
Seriously, huh?
All right, I'm going to sound like a complete idiot because I know what that means.
Okay.
I'm going to sound like a totally different idiot. Carp. When you're acting like somebody else on the internet to totally mess with somebody else.
Catfishing.
Guys, close. It's a different fish.
Carpfishing.
I'm such an idiot. It's
Okay, I was thinking trouting.
So yeah, I'm totally learning about catfishing right now. Like humans.
Yeah.
Who
Well,
has
they
this
have
much
a-
spare
they have a-
time?
They have a TV show.
Okay,
I've
see,
never
I don't
seen
watch
it.
TV. Cable
I
free
don't
since
either.
'93, so I'm like I miss everything.
I have no cable since like 2 months ago, and it's driving me crazy.
You can do it. You can do it.
I can't spell, so I can't make this happen.
Give to me sell things.
She's doing it.
Okay.
Are you
sorry.
doing it?
Are you doing it?
How do you spell
doing it.
aquarium?
CAQU.
Belle Isle Events Aquarium. Let's see what that gets us.
Hey.
As our listeners are like, seriously?
You guys are idiots.
seriously.
Like, you didn't set this
Island
up?
calendar. Oh, that's the Conservancy.
So I can tell people what has happened over the summer since we have been here is that we
Oh,
opened,
yeah, we did things.
opened up the Chicago store for Busted Bra Shop in Hyde Park, 0.2 miles from the Obama house. Just saying. I just missed him so much.
Deeper Dive is the series the Urgent for Sturgeon was part of, but they just did one back in August that was something about the Congo. So anyway, go back to
We just opened up Busted Bra Shop in Chicago in Hyde Park, and it has been fantastic. So, and a commercial is dropping for me.
Tell us about the commercial.
Sometime today or tomorrow, depending on when YouTube approves it. It was a partnership between the Southeast Chicago Commission and Google. They started a pilot program and asked me to be one of their pilots. And I was like, I've got the right stuff. Did you get it?
Get it? Right, so. I saw the commercial. It's amazing, and you just look so radiant.
Thanks. I was really
Yeah.
excited. I
You
couldn't
should have
believe
been. It was
they,
amazing.
They contacted me on like a Thursday. I met with them on Friday. We filmed on Monday. And they're like, so bring a makeup artist and a hairstylist. I was like, okay. I can do those things myself.
And you did a great job.
So, you know,
Yay.
it's pretty much me all natural with some mascara on, but whatever. We got to see the bras. You got to see what's happening in the store, and it's kind of neat because it's one of those commercials that's going to piss people off, but get our name out. So when you put in certain keywords in your searching bars,
Wait, why is it going to
Yeah,
piss
why is
people
it
off?
gonna-
because it's one of those that doesn't stop for 10 seconds. You can't skip it.
You're like, I can't skip it.
Lee, goddamn. Okay, yeah.
I have to watch about bras. Brr.
But if you like boobs, it's great.
Yeah. So that's cool.
Yeah. Just waiting for the approval, and then 45-mile radius around each of the stores if you put in these certain keywords or you're looking for a certain
that is what'll pop up in
influencers.
your.
Yeah,
Which
it'll
always
pop
makes me
up.
wonder, like, why are things popping
Why
up?
are
And
they?
that's why.
There
Because
we go.
somebody,
A
when I
logarithms.
Googled something, yeah.
Somebody put in certain Google. I could put in your name as one of the things, and it would pop up. But I did not do that.
Her eyes are like, what?
What did you do? Who's googling me?
First of all, yeah, like, who the hell is Googling my name?
I would
I'm
Google
going to
you.
today.
So, okay. I can't find anything except for this exhibit that happened last week. So I could be lying. I'll have to check it out, and we'll have to be a little bit more prepared for the next show.
That we know we're having.
Sorry, guys.
So we're gonna have.
So anyway,
We're gonna have a show next week. We promise.
are we gonna do it next week or every other week? We gonna do every week?
we have one scheduled for next week.
Okay. I want to do. We have 5 minutes left, and I want to do a cuddle corner.
The cuddle corner. Are we cuddling?
No, we're talking sled dogs.
Oh.
So I went to, this is an aside, and maybe we'll post pictures. And we did, I did tweet out the stills from the commercial, by the way. But I went, you know how we've talked in the past about my Musher Twitter love, and for Blair Braverman, who qualified for the Iditarod.
Yay!
So she and her husband will be in Alaska training for the Iditarod soon.
Nice.
With their packs of sled dogs. They have sled dog puppies right now, 2 different litters, because an accident with one of them while they were out of town.
Is that really an accident?
Yeah, it was an accident. Like, their neighbor was not aware that one was in heat or something. So yeah, they came back with they call them sled blobs, little puppies, to another set of sled blobs that were slightly younger.
Oops.
So anyway, I have mentioned before that this is one of the happiest places on Twitter, and there are a lot of very unhappy places on Twitter. So following Blair, she posts pictures of the dogs and just lovely events and everything. So football season happens.
Sports ball.
Oh, this
Sports
is
ball.
so
Sports
fun.
ball.
And these are not people who are big sports fans, right? So one of the followers in Musher Twitter said something. He responded about how football was played with like a sled dog, like comparing it to musher
football?
talk. No, like if you're a musher and your dog gets hurt, you put them in a bag and then you drop them off with the vet at the next checkpoint. Like, your dog doesn't run hurt, 150
of course
miles
not,
or
of course not.
whatever.
Yeah,
So when Aaron Rodgers got hurt,
Put him in a bag.
they were like, so basically what they did is put him in the sled bag and they dropped him off to the vet. Like, so they translated everything in football to
Mush terms.
mush terms. So everybody loved this so much that he started the Sled Dog Sports Network, which is at Sports Sled on Twitter. And their little caption is, "Oh, hi, we are sled dogs. We like sports ball. We will tell you all about sports ball. We thank the human named Blair Braverman for giving approval to use her pictures." Of course, it's all spelled like dogs who do not know how to spell. So,
Pawing the keyboard.
I actually took pictures of 2 of the cute little screenshots because I figured I would not have access here. So, just to read you a couple of very cute things, because they don't only cover football. They have a dog that has special needs, so that dog did a special report. Now I tell you about very special human sled dog. Her name, @Manuel Share. She push wheel sled long way in marathon. Marathon is human Iditarod. She's so good she push human wheel sled faster than anyone. Not just this race. Anyone. Any human sled dog wheel race ever. So she's a wheelchair-bound woman who
That's amazing.
beat the time for the Berlin Marathon. And another one.
Bears make good sled dogs.
Oh, yes. So they were going through, one of the dogs did his ratings of all of the NFL teams, but it was based on whether they'd be good sled dogs or not. So the Dolphins were at the very bottom because
They're dolphins.
they would suck, right?
Right.
But bears would make good sled dogs because they like the cold. They eat a lot. And he had one other thing for his criteria. Ravens would be good because ravens are in Alaska. But other than that, they probably don't eat a whole lot. So they're up there. The other birds are much lower. So very cute. So another one. Okay, lots of feet ball today, but we also cheer very much for human friends and animal friends stuck in warm blizzard.
That would be us down in
Aw.
Wilmington. Yes.
This is good man who helped kitten friend. Kitten named Survivor. Perfect name. Good job, human. Good job, kitten. And it's the picture of the gentleman with his little cat on his
shoulders.
Aw.
So
Go human.
So sports sled is one of the happiest areas on the internet. And if you don't understand sports, but you want to understand sports from sled dog's perspective, it's a great place to go.
it's really funny.
Blair actually she responded. She's like, I've never understood football so much.
Yeah,
Understand
Now I get it.
football.
So they talk about a yellow fuzzy flag, yellow fuzzy blanket. That's the penalty flag. They cheer for the Packers over the team from Norway, the Vikings, because the
Why
Packers.
not the Vikings?
Because the Packers are meat packers. They
Okay.
put meat in cans.
So to take us out,
my
I will
God.
say we are praying for the people in Wilmington, North Carolina, and in Newbern and Lumberton, and all of the areas that are affected by Hurricane Florence. That is where my family is right now. I talked to my mother-in-law this morning, and she has power. So that's fantastic. She is one of the only ones, but there are groups of people who have power in Wilmington. There are a lot of groups of people who do not have power in Wilmington. The ones that do, I keep hearing them say we're freezing as much ice as we can to bring to our friends who don't have any power, because a cold drink will bring a lot of good vibes. So
Good
cold
community
water
work
is
there.
very important. So keep communicating with each other. Use the internet if you can. Help the people in North Carolina. It's gonna. There's a lot coming out of there right now. So
Send in love and energy.
we'll talk about that more next week when it's not quite as emotional. But next week we have David Silver coming on. He's with the Detroit Horsepower Group. It's a nonprofit group. They bring horse camps basically to the kids of Detroit. It's a nonprofit, so they're bringing horse skills to the urban youth in the city of Detroit. There's a lot of magic that happens between people and horses, and if you're not a horse person, don't go. If you are a horse person, awesome. It's a warm fuzzy, and it helps with kids. So if you want to listen to us talk to David next week, he's going to be here on the 26th, 10 o'clock. We're going to be in this studio again here.
Okay.
Then in October, we will be in the Detroit
In the Detroit studio.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's going to be it.
Super-duper.
All right, bras, bitches, and balls. We're back for the year.
Stay bitchy.
Not hard.
I don't need you to tell me that.
Love you, ladies.
Thanks, Doc.